Hello everyone. Espen here, back with another draft video. Today I will be going over T1 versus JDG, game 1. I'll try to go over all of the semifinal games today, and then just upload everything in one go. This is mainly going to be as preparation for the finals, obviously, because I will be betting quite a bit on that match. I have been somewhat accurate with my bets in terms of deciding who will be winning based off of draft advantage. Semifinals was a bit of a cruel mistress to me just because I listened to what some other people said and didn't really trust my own instincts as much and didn't really pan out the way I wanted it to. But in terms of my own personal bets when it comes to deciding winners based off of draft, I have been very accurate at Worlds so far. So let's look at bans first, shall we? So on blue side we ban Aatrox. I don't really mind that much. Usually as blue side you have to leave open some OP champs. Usually it's either gonna be Aatrox or it's gonna be Maokai or it's gonna be Lucian. You're gonna be leaving up one of those champs or Azir as well, right? Like, you can't ban out everything. Problem is just red side is innately favored if they play their cards correctly because they will get 2 OPs here and you only get 1 OP here. So you have to make sure the 1 OP that you're leaving open is like super OP. From this Worlds we can kind of judge or like gauge that the 1 super OP or the 2 super OPs have been Lucian and Yuumi. Yuumi is obviously just first pickable. If she's ever left open, you're gonna just first pick her. And she is worth around 2 OPs, I would say. It's fine to leave open 2 OPs if you get Yuumi in exchange for it. The problem is red side obviously always have last ban. So if you leave open 2 OPs and enemy team last bans Yuumi, then you don't have an OP and then you're just gonna be then you don't have like a super OP, you're just gonna be trading 1 OP for 2 OPs, right? Which isn't good for you as blue side. Sylas, I don't really agree with as a ban. However, Yagao at this tournament has mainly been playing Sylas, right? So you're just trying to take him out of his comfort zone. I think a strategy that should be used a little bit more is let like an enemy player have their comfort pick first game and then see how strong they are on it. And if they're super strong on it, like this is obviously depends on how mentally sound your team is. If they're very likely to tilting, it's not as ideal, right? But I think it would be fine to leave open something like the Sylas and then ban something like the Azir and see what happens if we play Akali Sylas or Victor Sylas. You know, something along these lines. See what happens in mid lane, and if Yagao is just fucking cracked on Sylas, then obviously you ban it next game. But it's okay to take one game to have enemy, like, to let the enemy have like a somewhat favored draft to see what's like happening. You know, I think that's reasonable to do, but obviously you want to secure momentum early as well, so it's fair to ban the Sylas. Aatrox, super OP champ, blind pickable, not a lot of bad matchups, very good. Just overall requires the enemy team to draft against you in a very specific manner, requires them to play anti-dire, something like a Renata Aphelios, something like a Renata Varus, with an Azir or a Victor in the mid lane would be good against Aatrox. So I'm not sure why we're banning it because it requires too many pieces to counter, if that makes sense. I think that's the argument here for the Aatrox. Because you can counter Aatrox very easily, or well, not very easily, but there are distinct counters to the Aatrox, such as, like I said, anti-dive compositions. The problem is just there are some very cool mind games you can play, where if one team picks Aatrox, enemy will pick like Ornn, and then go anti-dive, so they will end up with something like a Renata Varus, or something like that, Renata Aphelios, something like this. Renata is generally speaking very good, or Lulu Aphelios. And then what you can do then is you can pivot your team composition, hang Aatrox out to dry, and just move into more of a poke style composition and play something like an Ezreal Karma. And then, you know, you're kind of winning pretty hard because you're outranging enemy team, and then you can again pivot into something like, well, not pivot. Actually, it would be pivot. Then you could again whip out something like a like an Azir mid lane, like a Kog'Maw mid lane. You could even play 6 AD if you wanted to. Problem is then you have to whip out an AD mid laner, which is usually not gonna happen unless you play Lethality Varus or something. You could also play Lethality Varus Karma, but then obviously that requires the enemy team to not have picked Karma. Or not have picked Varus in the first place, right? But I think there are very cool ideas you can do with this, where you can pick one champion that incentivizes enemy team to pick, like, a team composition that counters that champion, and then preemptively draft the counter to their team composition. But this is such a high level of drafting that's not really being done in League at the moment, so I don't think we should really move too much into that. T1. Oh, God, that's loud. Graves ban, just again, leaving open OPs. They want to trade OPs. They want to say, okay, guys, we're leaving open Lucian, we're leaving open Akali, we're leaving open Victor. I think this is a bit of a mistake, because what you're leaving open is mostly mid laners, and there's not really any other OPs. Like, it's Lucian plus mid laner, which means that you cannot secure 2 OPs here, right? Like, you're only gonna secure 1 OP for the 1 OP here. But then blue side is gonna get another OP because they get an OP mid laner as well, right? So blue side gets Lucian, first pick, and then they also get, oh well, they can also first pick Nami if they want to, I suppose. Just because the enemy team is not gonna pick away Lucian from the Nami. But you can pick like Lucian / Nami, and then a mid laner here. And you only get 1 mid laner over here, right? Like 1 OP mid laner, and you don't get any other OPs. So I think Graves ban is a bit of a mistake. I think you should just ban Lucian instead. Or you can ban Nami too. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, the problem is here, yeah, you're gonna respond with Aphelios Lulu, which is like, it's just not really that good. Lucian Nami plays quite mid-rangey, and Aphelios is weak to mid-range and long range. Aphelios needs people to like be on top of him, and Lucian Nami can slot into a mid-range draft decently well. Obviously, Lucian Nami, like, yeah, they can slot into a mid-range draft quite well, so I don't really like the Aphelios Lulu into them. Like, it's fine for the lane, I think, but I don't think it works later on in the game, unless enemy team drafts completely brainlessly and just picks full dive with the Lucian Nami, which they shouldn't. They should pick more control-oriented stuff. As soon as they see you lock in the Aphelios Lulu, which is this is likely to be, oh well, Aphelios Azir is what I would pick here, and then look for Lulu on 3. I don't like the Viego. I hate the Viego. Viego is so shit here. Viego sucks so much here. Viego is so bad here. Why do you pick Viego? Viego is good into team compositions that dive into you. Why do you need him this early? What? No. Makes no sense. Just go Azir. Just go Azir. Just make sure that they can't pick Azir. Like, that's the only thing you can do here. Or pick Victor. Like, you have to pick one of them. I think Azir is best. Could pick Akali too if you really want to. Akali isn't bad here, but you have to pick one of them. Because now you give enemy mid laner options. And now you don't get Lulu either. Like, now you're either gonna give up a mid laner or you're gonna give up Lulu. Which I don't like. You're gonna have to pick Lulu here, and then your mid lane can be pinched as a pull. If enemy team is good here, they pick Lucian, they leave open junglers, and then... Why? Really? You're gonna pick Vi here? No, just pick mid, bro. Just pick mid. Why Vi, man? What? What sense does it make? Just don't pick Vi. Also, Vi is going in. That's not what we want, bro. You're misunderstanding what's going on here completely. These guys want you to dive into them. Vi, what? These guys welcome Vi with open arms. They're like, oh, you're gonna come dive into Aphelios Viego? Hell yeah, we'll take that. Our weakness is we can't hit people unless they're short range. So yeah, come, fight, come on, yeah, get in here. I think instead what you just pick here is you just pick Lucian and then you pick Azir. And then enemy team can't play. Then you pick anti-engage here, anti-engage frontline. You're probably looking for something like a Maokai, and then you can blind pick top lane like a Gnar, or a Gangplank, or an Ornn, and then you're winning super hard. Enemy team can't play, it's GG. Enemy team has to pick Fiora and then go Psycho split push mode. Only way they can win. Only way they can win. It's just GG, if not. Yeah, I don't really like this. Actually, you can't pick both Maokai and Ornn. You would have to pick Maokai and Gnar to have enough damage spread. Otherwise, you might end up running into like too much magic resist on enemy team, and it will be a bit ugly. Or you could pick. Is there any like anti-dive AD junglers? Only one I can really think of is Graves, but obviously he's banned. Kindred. Kindred works really well. I think you could easily play Kindred here, but I don't know if Owner plays Kindred, so you know. I think you can easily play Kindred Ornn here. Or if you really, really want to, and if you're really, really cool, you pick Karma top lane, and you pick Kindred as well. But yeah, I don't think it will happen. I think picking Vi here is a mistake, for the reasons that I just mentioned. Because now, mid lane is just going to get pinched. Yeah, you have to pick Lulu. There's no way you're picking Azir. Because then Aphelios is dead in lane. Yeah, you're just picking Lulu. I mean, Vi is a bad pick, but it's still salvageable. Now JDG ban Victor Azir? I hope. Because what beats your team composition is range. So you just have to make sure that enemy team will engage on you and then you win. So you welcome an Akali pick. You're smiling if they pick Akali. So you just ban Victor Azir. Yeah, Victor ban. T1 probably bans... What can they even ban? Ornn. I think Ornn isn't bad. Ornn is fine, I suppose. I guess Ornn does a lot of stuff. Yeah, Ornn isn't bad ban. I think Ornn is fine ban. You want to remove frontline from JDG as much as possible. So Lucian has an easy time one-shotting everyone on the enemy team. If there are tanks on the enemy team, Lucian becomes a lot worse, right? Oh, I think Akali is bad pick. Oh no, actually, because you have first pick, so you can just pick Azir yourself. Yeah. I think that's fine then. Yeah, now as T1 you have to ban Azir. And then, what do we pick as JDG after the Azir ban? Could still go Maokai. Problem is then you probably run into a Fiora, which sucks. Is there anything to pick for mid lane? Is there any... Yeah, just slam the Azir. They banned Renekton for no reason, slam the Azir. Just go Azir. Go Azir. Just play Azir. It will suck a little bit. Swain is an interesting pick, but I don't think it's possible. I don't think Talia is good. I think Azir is just better. He's safer in lane and he does more in fights. Talia can roam more, but I don't think roaming is the way we're gonna win this game necessarily. Yeah, well, now Faker is just gonna play Azir, right? And then it just sucks for you. Yeah, now Faker will pick Azir and your comp is completely outranged and you can't play the game again. It's just GG. Yeah, Azir, Siggs, Vel'Koz, Kog'Maw, Xerath, all these champs are good. All of them are good. What? What? What's the thought process? What? I don't understand. Help me understand. What is T1 thinking? Just pick Azir and pick Gnar. And it's free win. You just take your free win to the bank, bro. Who's Aphelios gonna hit the entire game? No one. Who's Talia gonna hit the entire game? No one. You just win the game. Azir will outrange all of them. You can also play Kog'Maw. He's fine into Talia too. And it's not really that threatening of a mid jungle, so Kog'Maw is somewhat safe to scale. You can play Vel'Koz as well. You can play Ziggs as well if you really want to. Like, all of these champions are really, really good here because they control so much space and they make it unplayable for the Talia Aphelios. And Viego can't hit anyone either. Like, no one on the enemy team will be able to hit. Yeah, I don't really know. This seems really, really troll to me. But I hate these two jungle picks. And I don't think T1 understands here, like, what the weakness is to JDG's comp. Because JDG wants T1 to dive into them. So the way you counter their composition, the thing that their comp is weak against when you see these four champions is, oh, range and control, spatial control. Even Orianna would be a good pick here. Because because she can control so much space against these champions. Now, obviously, she doesn't outrange as much, so it's difficult for her to poke these champions down before a fight happens, which means it's going to be difficult for you to find and engage and actually punish them, but you will still be able to control space. I think it's a complete misunderstanding of what enemy draft wants to do and what their weakness is to pick Galio Camille here. I think it's a complete misunderstanding from T1. I think it's completely misunderstanding the draft. I don't think this makes any sense. I think JDG are so favored in this draft. They're so favored. Like, we're talking like 80% favored in the draft at this point. I don't think it's winnable for T1. Especially if Jax gets slammed here. Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking GG, isn't it? Entirety of T1 is diving into a team that wants them to dive into them. What? How did this get through draft? I don't understand. What's the point, man? So now, the team composition that we picked on JDG's side, which by the way is susceptible to range. This is not a good blind pick comp, mind you. This is a terrible blind pick comp. The only reason it ends up working out is because T1 doesn't understand what beats this comp. What beats this comp is not dive, go in, go, fist fight, fight, throw punches. No, it's range. It's range advantage, controlling space. That's what beats this comp. But you're, like, these guys are blinding their fucking comp and you're picking. You're self-countering. This is like, these guys blind picked Tristana mid lane and you pick Kassadin over here. Like, what? You're just losing for fun. How does this make sense? It doesn't, is the answer. I think there are so many different things that could be picked. Yeah, this is crazy to me. This is really, really absurd. This is really, really insane that this is allowed to happen. How did you manage to fuck up your draft so much on the last 2 picks is beyond me. But yeah, that was this draft, I suppose. I think JDG ended up winning this game as well, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I did bet on it, and I think JDG won it. Yeah, they did. Probably in the manner that we expected. They dove into an Aphelios Lulu, Talia, with their composition and just couldn't fight. Because you're diving into a team that wants you to dive into them. Now, mind you, T1 this entire series, and probably this game as well, played 10 times better than JDG. But they really wanted to grief themselves with draft. And that was the problem. This game at the very least. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and, oh, let me see. Have a good one. See ya. Bye-bye.